guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. This whole thing lives and dies by the questions that you ask. So please, please, please ask tons of questions. If you leave them in the comments to this video, I will get to them next week. If, however, you don't, I miss them, I'm very, very sorry. Ask them again. Sometimes I do miss questions. Now, the other thing is, try to get the questions in by Wednesday. I tend to film these things on Wednesday. Today is a Tuesday. I'm filming it early because I'm going to be at Alakazam over Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I've got to get all of this stuff done earlier on in the week. So if you want to guarantee to have a question answered, it's best to leave it at the beginning of the week. Anyway, with that all being said, I've had a flick through, and there's been quite a few really good questions this week. So we're going to get straight into it right now with this week's Q&A. So the first question is from Benoit P, and Benoit says, I have a question. I'm mostly into card magic and mentalism, fine, but I don't currently perform at a lot of venues. However, I'm leaning towards increasing my performances next year in corporate walk-around and parlor shows. I have a wide range of card magic from packet tricks to full deck routines and mentalism, but I always wanted to know if card magic really is appreciated by lay audiences, or do they prefer other types of magic performances? Really, I mean, it's a great question, Benoit. Really, it's down to you as an individual. It's down to you as a performer. You know, some of the best magicians in the world are card magicians. Look at somebody like Daniel Chard. Look at somebody like Paul Gordon. Look at somebody like Ricky Jay. The list goes on and on and on. There's some incredible card magic out there. And cards are going to always be linked to magicians, like forevermore. And you know what's really interesting? A lot of the time when I go to gigs and I do walk around magic, I've got a very eclectic range of magic that I do. I'll start with a key, then a string, then I'll be doing stuff with ropes, then coins, then cards. A lot of the time when I'm going to groups of people, if I've done some other types of magic, I'll pull the cards out, you have someone going, oh, I love card magic. Laymen do love card tricks. They really do. For me personally, the problem with card magic is that it's very easy to go down the route of boring and procedural as opposed to interesting and high energy. I find, you talked about walk around corporate events. I do find when you're doing walk around magic at corporate events where you've got to grab people's attention quickly, if you're going to do card magic, you need to make sure it's like really visual. If it's a procedural thing that's going to take forever, that pipe and slipper type magic, that's not going to work. If you're doing mentalism, and it's slow and laborious, that's not going to work, at least in my opinion. I think in a lot of events, you know, if you're going to do card magic, it needs to be quick. I don't like opening with card magic, and the reason is so many times that I've walked up to a group and I've gone, hey, pick a card, and they go, I've seen this one. I want to establish credibility first of all, and a lot of the time, with certain exceptions, but a lot of the time, card magic isn't the thing that I'm going to do to establish credibility. But if I'm performing the right type of card magic and it's magic that I believe in, then I'm absolutely fine. And the perfect example is something that's come out recently, which is Sticker Kicker. And I did a mat test on this earlier in the week. Sticker Kicker is just a really strange routine that I just love performing. It's this whole concept of you put a sticker on the card and then the sticker disappears, but then the rest of the card turns into a sticker. It's got a really nice hook. It's got a really nice presentation. Even though it's a card trick, it doesn't feel like a card trick. So I think make it entertaining, make it engaging. I personally like to vary it up, but really it's down to the individual. Funny story before we carry on. I remember about 4 years ago at a Christmas gig, I was hired by an agent to do a walk around at a Christmas party. And I was told there was going to be another magician there, and the agent was very specific. They said, right, okay, so you're both going to be there. There's going to be two magicians. I didn't know who the other magician was. And they said, and I was booked to be the card magician. So I couldn't do anything but card tricks. And they said, there's going to be another magician there who's booked to do non-card material. I was like, okay, cool, fine, no problem. I can do that. That's not a problem. So I turn up and I get there early, and I'm sitting down, having a drink. I'm supping my Diet Coke. And in walks Daniel Chard. And I go, hey, Daniel, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm at the gig. You're not the other magician, are you? And I was like, yeah, I am. Turns out Daniel Chard, who's one of the best card magicians in the world, was booked to do non-card magic. And me, who's really, I'm good at cards, not at Daniel's level by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm better at non-card material. That's where my experience, my expertise lies. And I was booked to just do card magic. And we actually tried to turn around to the client and say, you know, it might be best to switch us round and switch the roles. And they're like, no, that's the way it's going to be. So kind of a funny story there that me and Daniel ended up doing. Daniel was there desperately trying to get along with sponge balls and coins. And I was there just doing card magic, looking across the room, thinking I've got one of the world's best card magicians in this room with me and he can't even do card magic. Ridiculous. But that's the perfect example. Like, Daniel is an incredible card magician. Nobody would watch Daniel at a gig and go, yeah, would have been better if he'd done a coin trick. So really it's down to the individual. Make it interesting, make it fun, and make it fit your character. You know, if you've got a character, you can pull off nothing but card magic, and it seems like you've got a lot of card material, then that's fine, but vary it up a bit. Don't just do ambitious card and 4-ace routines. Look for unique and different routines that you can do and infuse into your card magic, and then I think you'll be fine. Okay, so the next question is from Reese Whitehead, and Reese says, hey Craig, great Q&A, thanks very much. Starting to get back into full time again, learning tricks after the baby. Congratulations, by the way. What's the best book for self-working card tricks? And what are the best self-working card tricks? Well, I'm doing a video at the moment on the best self-working card tricks of all time. I personally think some of the stuff that Big Blind Media did back in the day, I mean, there weren't books, there were DVDs, but some of those DVDs on semi-automatic card magic were brilliant, like some really good stuff. I think the best book I've ever read is Card College Light by Roberto Giobbi. That's got some fantastic self-working card magic in it. And I do love self-working card magic. I was speaking to some of the gold members on Netrix recently about self-working card magic and about how good it can be. A lot of the tricks that require self-working moves, a lot of the self-working card tricks, per se, they require a bit of a setup. In fact, you know what? Just as a bonus thing for you guys, what I'll do is I'll actually show you and go through my favorite self-working card trick. Now, this is eons old. This is like public domain. This is about 30 or 40 years old. It must be longer. I mean, but I've never seen anyone doing it, and it's such a good trick. And I'll show you exactly what it looks like. So it looks like this. So it looks like this. I'll show you very quickly, and then I will even teach it you. I'll pull a Lloyd Barnes on the channel, and I'll teach you, because everyone should be doing this. And what's nice about it is it's from a shuffle deck of cards in use. And as I say, a lot of self-working card tricks, they don't do that. A lot of self-working card tricks use a setup in order to make it work. So this is the trick. You have a deck of cards and you have it shuffled by the audience, and the audience shuffle it as much as you want to. And then you say to them, look, I could get you to pick a card, but the problem if I get you to pick a card is you're probably going to go for the same card as everybody else, or I can maybe make you pick one. It's the same as if I riffle down the deck. I might be able to get you to just stop at a particular point. Even if I spread the cards out on the table and get you to look at a card, there's a very good chance I can maybe look at where your eyes are looking. So I'm going to make it completely random. I'm going to have a card picked in a way that there's no way that I could possibly know what card you're going to pick. And that's the setup. And then you say, look, I want you to cut a small packet of cards off, less than 20 cards. So they do. And you say, great, I'm going to look away, count the cards and put them in their pocket. So you would be looked away at this point and you'd count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They would put those cards away in your pocket, and then you turn that round. Now, you genuinely don't know what that number is. I know what it is because I haven't got anyone else here with me, but you wouldn't know what that number is. And you go, okay, so you've got a number. There's no way I can know what that number is. Right, okay. So is it less than 20? Yes. Okay, I'm going to show you 20 cards. And what I want you to do is remember the card that falls at the number. So if you were thinking of 3, you'd think of the 3rd card. So they're going to think of the 12th card. And you say, let me go through to the end of the 20 cards. I don't want you to go, got one, so I know roughly where your card is. Just let me go through. So you then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So in this case, they're thinking of the ace of clubs. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You're looking away through all of that and you say, have you got a card? And they say yes. And you go, brilliant, look. No moves, no breaks, no nothing. If I could find your card now, would that make me the world's greatest magician? It would, wouldn't it? Because I have no idea what number you picked. Therefore, I have no idea what card you picked. I haven't manipulated the cards in any way. I think that would make me the world's greatest magician. And you go, maybe you think I'm kidding, so let's ask the cards. Look, here we go. Who, W-H-O, is, I-S, the, T-H-E, world's, W-O-R-L-D, apostrophe S. Because let's be honest, the grammar police are everywhere. Who the world's greatest, G-R-E-A-T-E-S-T, magician, M-A-G-I-C-I-A-N. And look, the cards are, it's an arrow pointing towards me. That tells me that I must be the world's greatest magician, but it could be pointing to the top card of the deck because it's pointing here. And think about it, you picked any number, you picked any card, no way I could know what your card is, no way I could know where it is. If this was the top card, if this was your card, that would absolutely make me the world's greatest magician. How did I do? And then you show that you've got the card. That's my favourite impromptu trick. You know, sometimes you're in a gig or you're at a place, maybe a social situation, and you get handed like a really grubby, nasty ass looking deck that's horrible, that you can't do any sleights with. This is the trick that I'll do because you literally don't have to do any sleights. And if you guys want to learn it, I don't really do tutorials on the channel, but I'll make an exception just this once. So you as long as you've got a deck of 52 playing cards, you're golden. You just need a full deck, no jokers. There has to be exactly 52 cards. They shuffle them as much as they want to. One thing is at the beginning, it's a bit of an odd sort of procedure in order to get them to pick a card. Cut off some cards, look at it's kind of odd. So I justify it by eliminating all the normal ways to pick a card. You know, some magicians would get you to pick a card, but I'm not going to do that. You know, magicians would get you to say stop. I'm not going to do that. So you kind of go through all of this stuff and you say, well, this wouldn't work because of this wouldn't work because of this. So I think the easiest way for me to do it is to do this, and you're justifying the procedure you're about to do in order to make it as fair as possible. So you get them to cut off a small packet of cards. As long as it's less than 20, it doesn't matter. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 in that case. That you could turn around at this point. They could count the cards, put them in the pocket. You don't know the number. Now, all you do is you tell them that you want to remember the card at the number they're thinking of. So if they're thinking of 5, they'll remember the 5th card, but let you go through all the 20 cards so that you don't know where their card is. So now you go through 1, 2, and do it slow enough that they can focus on them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So in this case, it's the 4 of spades. Notice I'm taking the cards on the face of each one. I'm not reverse counting them. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. As long as you take those 20 cards and put them underneath the packet, not on top, but underneath, you're set up. With no moves or anything, if you spell out who is the world's greatest magician with an apostrophe, you will always get the card that they looked at, even though they could have cut any number. And so the arrow thing makes it quite funny. So W-H-O, who, I-S is the T-H-E, world's W-O-R-L-D, apostrophe S, greatest G-R-E-A-T-E-S-T, magician, M-A-G-I-C-I-A-N, and you will always get, in this case, the 4 of spades. It works every single time. It's a really fun trick to do. So that's my favourite trick with a regular deck of cards, no setup, self-working trick. However, if you want to look at more, check out Big Blind Media's Self-Working Miracles or Semi-Automatic Card Magic, and check out Card College Light by Roberto Giobbi. So the next question is from Jack Gatt, and Jack says, you and your mate at the comedy club could have been a hit, Craig. Your mate losing his ball sounds like a great comedy gag. The whole story sounds like a comedy routine, something like The Amazing Jonathan, yet didn't feel like it at the time. A question is, how many ambitious card cycles is enough? Is 5 too many? No, I think as long as you make it interesting, as long as each phase builds, what I don't think you should do is just do the same thing over and over again. So my standard ambitious card is I start with a colour change. So I talk about the difference between sleight of hand and real magic. And I start with an Erdnase, change, but off a triple. So I start with an Erdnase change to get the cards. That's phase one. I then put it down into the middle and have it come back to the top, and that's phase two. Then I notice strike doubles now. No breaks for me. Took me a year, but I finally nailed it. Then I have them push the card in themselves. They push the card in, and it comes to the top. That's phase three. Phase four is I do this move, this move here. But I don't use it as card to mouth. I just make it very obvious that the card is really going into the middle. I make it really obvious the card is coming to the middle. I then take the top card and I do a twirl change or a shapeshifter change to change that one. So each phase is building. So that's phase four. Then I take this and they take half the cards. And I put the card into this half of the deck, and I say with half the deck it's easy to follow. And say, did you see it come to the top of the deck? But that half, so that's phase five. And then the finale, whatever the finale is. So it's 5 phases, and then a card to impossible location normally, or something like that. I think as long as each phase builds, as long as it gets interesting, if you just have the card come to the top each time, I don't think it's as interesting. But as long as each phase bit builds, I think it's fine. So 5, that's what I've got in my card routine. So I don't see that as a problem at all. Next question is from Sting. How you doing, Sting? Hope you're well. Sting says, I've got another question for you. Did you ever think about creating your own deck of playing cards? Actually, yes and no. Lloyd Barnes and myself, mainly Lloyd, because Lloyd's the creative one when it comes to this sort of thing, we've created a Magic Podcast deck of cards. A deck of cards all about the Magic Podcast with some really fun ideas built into it. And you know what? I think we might actually get those printed up for Blackpool next year. I think having some Magic Podcast cards would be fun. If we do the Magic Podcast live again, I think we'll give a deck of cards out for free for anybody who comes along to the recording, the Magic Podcast live. So so yes, kind of, not really, but kind of. We've got a deck of cards in mind. Lloyd has designed the back design. They look absolutely fantastic. The cards have been designed, but we've not done anything with it. But, in the future, maybe. Okay, so the next question is from Pratek Kohli. And Pratek says, love your video on the similarities between wrestling and magic. Thank you very much. I wanted to know what your favourite WWE promo of all time was. I'm going to throw 2 at you. The first one was... I'll throw a couple at you. The first one was definitely Roddy Piper when he fought Bret Hart, I think at SummerSlam 1992, I think it was. When he lost, it was for the Intercontinental Championship, which he won a few months before from the Mountie, from memory serves, and he had that shock vest on, and then he went on to defend it against Bret Hart. The promo that he cut on Bret Hart was just brilliant. It was a backstage interview with Gene Okerlund, and Bret was there, and then Roddy came in, and the way that promo was structured was brilliant. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's really good. Obviously, even though I think he's kind of overrated, and when I say kind of, I think he's very overrated, I still think that the pipe bomb promo by CM Punk was one of the best promos of all time. It really kind of turned wrestling on its head. So I think the pipe bomb promo was really good. A lot of the stuff that Hulk Hogan was doing in the early days of the NWO, not when it went later on and went just ridiculous and convoluted, but the early days, a lot of the stuff that Hulk Hogan was doing was great. And then beyond that, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, always cut a great promo for me. And a lot of the stuff that Edge does, I think Edge is very overrated as a promo guy. I think his promos are great, as are a lot of Shawn Michaels. So there you go. There's a lot. I tell you what, talking about Shawn Michaels, I love the stuff that they did in DX in the early days, not when it came back again and again and again, but in the early days of DX. I remember when they were ribbing on the Monica Lewinsky sketch, and it was Hulk Hogan and China and Shawn Michaels issuing an apology to everybody on behalf of the WWF. And it was based on that thing. It was very, very funny. Go check that out as well. So there you go. There's a few of my favorite promos from WWE and WCW. Okay, so another question from Protect Coley, not a wrestling related question this time, but a magic related question. Do you use a pass in card magic? If yes, which ones, and what are some good sources to learn different types of passes? Yes, I do. I do. Yeah, I control a card with a pass. A lot of the time when I'm doing a control in the real world, I'll be using a spread pass. My favorite pass is a Midnight Shift by Steve Drawn. That's an amazing pass in my opinion. And if you want to see, I did a Hidden Gems episode a couple of weeks ago where I did my handling of Deadlier Than the Mail by Jeff Latter. And you see me doing a pass in there. I actually used the pass twice to vanish a couple of cards during the final phase of the sandwich routine, and I used the Midnight Shift. So if you want to see how I use it in the real world, go check out Deadlier Than the Mail by Jeff Latter. It's in the Hidden Gems playlist. I also like using the turnover pass. I use the classic pass just as a control. I'm not great at the classic pass. I'm not an Alex Pandrea who can do the classic pass completely and totally burnable. But I do it well enough that with a little bit of misdirection to get away from it. But if I'm going to have the deck burned, it's going to be a Midnight Shift or a turnover pass or a spread pass. In terms of places that you can learn the pass, somebody's already said Seth Howard and I agree with him. Alex Pandrea has the ultimate guide to the pass, about an hour-long video going over various passes. That's a good one. And I'll also throw another name into the mix. Very old DVD. It wasn't that. I think it was originally on VHS. It's so old, but it's now a DVD. I think you can get it on a download as well. It's called On the Pass by Richard Kaufman, who had it was a really great teaching tool on how to do the pass. So go check that out. And on the subject of Richard Kaufman, in the book that Deadlier Than the Mail was from, which is Spectacle by Stephen Minch, which you can get as a download, as an ebook, there's a slight in there called the Double Lift Pass, again by Richard Kaufman, and it's a really cool pass that's very underrated, so it's worth checking that out as well. So there you go, there's some sources for learning the pass. All of them are pretty good. Okay, so the next question is from Benoit P again, and Benoit says, great Q&A, thank you very much. Question, are you going to be at FISM this July, which is held for the first time in Quebec City, Canada? Also, what are your thoughts about those FISM gatherings for amateur magicians, which is surely a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but I found out that it's very expensive to take part in. In essence, does FISM gatherings competitions only gear towards professional magicians? Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. So first of all, no, I'm not going to be at FISM. Second of all, which is a shame, but I just can't make it. Second of all, are FISM gatherings and competitions only geared towards professional magicians? No. In fact, most professional magicians in July that I know will be working, will be really, really busy. And also, a lot of professional magicians couldn't justify the cost of FISM, which is very, very expensive. A lot of the people that I know that go to FISM are amateurs. To be honest, a lot of the big draw of FISM is going to see all the competitors and all the competitions. I've been to FISM a couple of times, and every single time I've been, I've spent most of the time in competitions, not in lectures or in anything else like that, or the dealer hall. It's always been about watching the competitions, and watching the competitions is just as much fun for an amateur magician as it is for a professional magician. So, no, I don't think so. So what are your thoughts about those FISM gatherings for amateur magicians? I think fine. If you can afford to go and you have time to go. You know, it's like any other magic convention. It's just there's probably going to be a lot of big names there, and the focus is on competitions. But still, go 100%. It's a fun experience. You know, any magic convention is a fun experience, but FISM is awesome. So yeah, I don't think it's really just for professional magicians. I think it's for everyone. Okay, so the next question again is from Sting, and Sting says, you've brought the Dan Rhodes issue to our attention, and rightfully so, thank you very much. Now I stumbled on a video from Mr. Ramsey where he showed magical rip-off products he ordered from Wish, and he blatantly exposed all the methods. What is your opinion on that matter? I think it is absolutely wrong what Mr. Ramsey does on his channel lately. Years ago, when I started with magic, I liked his basic tutorials, but the time has passed rather quickly. I think with millions of followers, he should stick to what you said about Mr. Rhodes in the last video on that issue. I don't know Chris Ramsey well enough, in all honesty with you, to really give much an opinion. This question came up on the on the podcast last week, and somebody said, "What do you think of Chris Ramsey's new video that he's just put up on performing classics of magic?" So I went and checked that out. And I didn't see a problem with it at all. It was like a 15-minute video, and he was performing very old tricks from like 100 years ago. And he briefly exposed how the tricks work, but it was very, very brief. And the focus was on the performance. And there were all things that were 100 years old that people didn't really use anyway these days. So I didn't see an issue with that. I'm just punching up his YouTube channel, to be perfectly honest, just to have a look. My issue with Dan, just to be clear, just so that everyone is crystal clear with this, I don't have a problem with long form content. I genuinely don't. I think of YouTube like a massive library. And if people are actually watching long form content, if people are spending the time watching this, it shows they've got an interest in magic. It shows that they are interested in learning the secrets, because you have to, in order to watch a 10-15 minute video, you have to invest time, right? You have to invest something. You might not have to invest money, but you have to invest time. And because you're having to invest time, I think that's okay. It's why I don't have a problem with Lloyd doing his channel, because again, it's long. Well, first of all, he's teaching his own stuff, but secondly, it's long form content. You know, who are we to stop new magicians getting into magic? You know, there might be somebody out there that's got no money, comes from a really poor house, but's got access to the internet and wants to become a magician. They could be the next Shin Lim. But if we stop them from being able to find these secrets out on YouTube, then they might go down a different path. And as far as I'm aware, and I might be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, and I'm looking at it now, Chris's stuff is generally long form content. I don't know the particular video that you're talking about, but his stuff is long form. So he's got a few tutorials. I can just see here 2 months ago, my all-time favorite card trick explained. It's a 20-minute video. That one I told you about, which is the one I told you about, which is performing 100 tricks. That's a 10-minute video. Performing magic in Austin, that's just performing, as far as I can see. A lot of it's puzzles, isn't it? A lot of it's puzzles. You know, I don't see any short form content. And the problem with Dan's stuff is it's all YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, or TikTok videos. It's all like 20, 30 seconds, and it's just appearing on people's For You page. And it's not like people are invested in those videos. It just pops up, they see this exposure, and then they go on to like a lip syncing video or something. They're not searching for Dan's content. It just comes up. And that's my issue with it. And also, he's exposing tricks that aren't his, marketed tricks that aren't his. And I don't think Chris is doing that, but I could be wrong. But he's not doing short form content. You know, you expose Henry's shell in a 20-second video as part of short form content to a bunch of people that have got no interest in learning magic, then I have an issue. Then I have a problem. But as far as I can say, point me to some videos where you specifically think that Chris is doing something wrong. But as far as I can see, in my limited experience of Chris Ramsey, his stuff seems to not be that bad. But, and definitely no shorts as far as I can see. And all the shorts that he is putting up, it's all puzzles. So I don't see a problem, but maybe I'm wrong. This is just my opinion. It doesn't make it right. Point to me some specific videos where you think Chris is in the wrong, and we can address it on next week's Q&A. Okay, so I've got several people asking me for another Horror story. Another horror story. You guys seem to be getting obsessed with me doing horror stories on the Q&As. This is not a story about me. This is a story about a friend who used to be a magician and now isn't, has left magic, but was a very good magician. Very, very good kids magician. And we're going back about 15 years. And he had this very cool style with kids. He came across as like this really cool guy, and he was kind of a bit sarcastic, but it really worked for him. And I was watching him do a kid show once, and he did this bit that always brought the house down, where he got a kid to come up on stage and he said, you're going to make the magic work, you're going to have to wiggle your fingers. No, it's not worked. I'll tell you what, take a magic wand. Okay, wave the magic wand. Okay, you're going to have to, it's not working. You're going to have to jump in the air. Okay, that's not high enough. Jump higher, jump higher. And he put his hand here, and then the kid would hit his hand against his head and he'd go, ow. It'd be really funny. And he'd really milk the bit where he goes, jump higher, come on, you're not jumping high enough. Very, very funny. Seen him do it quite a few times. Well, this one time, he was doing this whole bit, and he didn't realise the person he picked, which I totally understand. A lot of the time when you're doing a kid's show, you got a million things that you're thinking about. You're thinking about the next thing that's going to happen. You're not actually thinking about anything else. So he picked a kid, and the kid came up on stage, and he was going through the one bit, and everyone was laughing, and he was like, jump in the air, jump higher, jump higher. He was doing the whole thing that normally brings the house down. Very comedic, telling them off in a very comedic way. Jump higher, oh, come on, you can jump high enough. And the crowd just turned against him immediately. And I knew why. He didn't have a clue why. And then he looked down, and this little girl that he brought up that was like 6 years old had calipers on her legs. She broken her legs, or there'd been a problem with her legs, and she very noticeably had sort of calipers on her legs, and she obviously couldn't jump or walk very much. And honestly, the look on his face, he didn't realise, he didn't do it maliciously. He just didn't realise, he was thinking about the next thing in his show. He just saw her sitting on the floor. He brought her up. He didn't go down at her legs, and he was doing the same bit that he did a million times. But from the audience's point of view, it looked like he was basically bullying a child for having a disability on stage. And it was a very awkward situation, and it really threw him. Being the pro that he was able to get through the show, and he apologized profusely to the parents afterwards, who luckily saw the funny side of it, and the kid wasn't upset that came up on stage, but the entire audience turned against him. Real horror story there. That was some of the stuff I've told you is really funny, and I felt like I died on my arse. But this situation, I'm pretty sure he wanted the ground to open up and swallow him whole. Like really, really awkward situation. So yeah, there you go. That is another horror story, not about me, about somebody else. But if you want to hear more horror stories, let me know in the comments. Okay, so the next question is from Chris Ash, and Chris says, I've now changed my Netrix subscription from bronze to silver. Awesome. Make sure you jump into the virtual magic clubs live. They are amazing live, and they're really popping. And it's one of the big benefits for me for silver level is that we do these clubs every week. Do you have an update on the Alakazam release that had a June estimated release? Well, I'm filming this on the Tuesday. But the live launch for this product is happening on Thursday. This video is going up on Sunday, so it'll already have gone up. And the Alakazam release is the Mirage coin set Extreme. So the Mirage coin set is one of the things that I've been most proud of. I released it originally probably about 14 years ago now, and it was great. It got great reviews. There was a problem with the quality of the coins in the set, in my opinion. I don't know who the guy was that made the coins for World Magic Shop, but I felt that there was an issue with some of the coins, especially with the shell being very, very tinny. Probably about 9 months ago now, I was speaking with Peter Nardi, and we talked about bringing the Mirage coin set back. And I said, if we're going to do it, A, the coins have to be the best they can be, and B, as well as the coins being the best they can be, I want to do all new routines, all new teaching, all new handling, because I've got a load more ideas. And so that's what we did. We bought, we filmed, I think, a 4-hour tutorial, leaving no stone unturned, covered everything. I'm so proud of this. We went to Houdini's Magic Bar in Canterbury to film all of the performances. I insisted on live performances because I wanted people to see what these routines play like in the real world. So I insisted on live performances. And what was good is that Alakazam wanted those live performances as well. The tutorials were really well done. Everything was really well done. I was very happy with how it came out. And it launched on Thursday. So that's the Mirage coin set. Really, really good. Really, really great. And Roy Coopers, who in my opinion is one of the best coin gaff manufacturers in the world, Roy actually made the coins. We went to Roy to have the coins made. And there is so much you can do with this coin set. Like, it's great. I'm going to be doing a review show special on it at some point. Maybe even today. Depends if I can get it filmed in time. But yeah, bottom line is the release date was Thursday. I've got other stuff coming out with Alakazam soon, but the Mirage coin set is the June release, and it's something I'm so proud of. The quality is second to none. The teaching is probably some of the best teaching I've ever done. It's like whether you are a beginner at coins, you've been doing them for a while, or you're an advanced coin worker, there's absolutely going to be something in this set for you. Okay, next question again is from Chris Ash, and Chris says, what qualities do you look for in close-up pads? I'm currently using a roll-up type. However, there is just something about using it that isn't really working for me, but I'm not exactly sure what the problem is, user error, technique, or simply inconsistent pad for the desired purpose. I'm not an expert when it comes to close-up pads because for my entire career, I haven't really been in a situation where I've needed a close-up pad unless it's been in some sort of parlor show. I use close-up pads. This table is a giant close-up pad. I don't have any roll-up close-up pads, or I don't like the feel of them, like you said. All of the close-up pads that I use have a hard back on them, a leather hard back. And I get all of my close-up pads from Prop Dog. I think that Prop Dog make amazing close-up pads. And honestly, if you want a close-up pad that's really good, I would go with Prop Dog. I think they're great, and they'll custom make you a pad with your logo on it, or they'll make one with different colors and different designs. Ryland's got 3 Prop Dog close-up pads. I've got 3. I've got this table. I can't really tell you about what I look for because I don't know what I look for. I just ring up Dave Bonsall and I say, can I have another close-up pad, please? That's basically it, really. So I don't know what else to help you. I don't like the roll-up type. I personally would try a nice hardback close-up pad, but again, it depends on what you're wanting to use it for. Look into the various different reviews. I don't really know much about close-up pads, but look, I know that there's a whole bunch out there that are nice. Maybe go to a convention and try them out and find one that works for you. Okay, so the next question is from the Kitchen Magician, and the Kitchen Magician says, hi Craig, I have a question for your next Q&A. What's your thoughts on clients asking for discounted pricing or negotiating prices for your services? I find this rather frustrating with inflation these days. My prices are fair but firm, but that doesn't stop people trying to haggle and get my services cheaper. This is my job. This is how I provide for my family. I understand times are tough and people want to be frugal with their money. However, my prices are fair. I'm not a discounted magician. What would you do in my situation? Also, do you have any stories of being ripped off and not paid for a performance? Cheers, Frank, aka the Kitchen Magician. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. So first of all, the simple way to stop people from haggling is just to make it very clear that you don't haggle. The price is the price, and that's what it is. So there's a couple of things that right. Okay, so without getting too deep into it, because we get into this very deep on the Netrix, but to not get too deep into it, there's 3 levels in which you can price yourself. The first level is budget. That's like 25% of the market. That's like Primark. It's the cheapest of the cheap. Pound shop, dollar stores, things like that. People that shop there, or people that are in this sort of 25%, they're just looking for the cheapest possible deal and will haggle you down every time. The top 7% are premium, and they are the sort of people that will spend a fortune on anything. They're the people that will. It's not about. It's about getting the most expensive thing. You know, they're the ones that dress in £10,000 suits. They're the ones that book a hotel room that's £10,000 a night. Money is no object. In actual fact, they want to spend more so they can show that they're spending more because they've got the best. That's a very small percentage, it's 7%. And then everyone in the middle is value for money. There are people that basically they want a good service and they're prepared to pay a decent amount in order to get that service. They're not going to haggle you down too much, but they don't want to get ripped off either. You have to figure out which area you're marketing yourself in. And then all of your marketing material and everything that you do has to be aimed at that area in which you're marketing yourself to. So for example, if you're premium, but you have videos of yourself performing at a family restaurant or performing at a McDonald's or a village hall or something like that, nobody is going to want to book you in that premium level. They're looking for you at celebrities and the finest restaurants in the world, you know, performing at that sort of area. Likewise, if your budget and you're aiming at that budget level, which I wouldn't recommend you do because, you know, they can always there's always somebody cheaper. But if you do aim at that level and you come across as with celebrity quotes and stuff like that, people are going to think, oh, this guy's obviously too expensive. So knowing where you're operating is really, really important. And if people are constantly trying to haggle with you, it might be that the demographic that you're aiming yourself at is lower down than where you want to be, in which case it might be a case of adjusting your marketing message, or it might be a case of adjusting your marketing material. I wouldn't know until I had a good look at it. But if you're getting lots of people constantly trying to haggle with you, that might be the reason. And if that is the case, it's a simple matter of adjusting your marketing message, or it's a simple matter of adjusting your marketing material. But only you have the answer to that. In terms of people trying to haggle you down, just turn around to them and say, no, you don't take discounts. You know, you don't take discounts. We don't discount our prices. I personally don't think you should discount your prices. We do special offers in our company, but it's not discounting the price that people pay. A lot of the time it's giving people extra. So it's kind of a case of, you know, well, if you do this, we'll do this for you. And you wouldn't normally get this, but we'll get that for free. So we're still getting the price that we want, but we're throwing something in. And, you know, sometimes that's a useful thing to do. It's a good loss leader. It's a good sales technique. It's a good marketing technique. You know, there's 5 impulse factors. And again, this is something else that we get into on the silver level of the Netrix, but there's 5 impulse factors. And one of those, and what I mean by impulse is what you say to get people to want to book you. It's part of a sales process. And one of those impulse factors is greed. And it's understanding that people are naturally greedy. And if you appeal to that and you appeal to that in some way, it will convert more bookings. So it's how to do it without actually discounting money down. And there's several techniques that you can use. So that answers those questions. Yeah, you're not a discount magician. What would you do in my situation? Look at your marketing message. Look at your marketing material. Make sure that it's conducive to what you're offering. Make it very clear in any email correspondence or any sales process that you don't discount your prices, and make it a selling point. So, you know, actually make it, paint it red. You know, because sometimes people are worried about putting that sort of message out there, but paint it red, make it a positive. Hey, we don't discount our prices, and that's because, you know, we're not the cheapest. We're not the cheapest, but, you know, we're the best, or whatever it may be, you know, but paint it red is the advice that I would give you. And yeah, that's what I do. Also, hopefully that helps. If you want more clarification, let me know and I'll try and clarify it more. Or the silver level of the Netrix is a really useful thing for you to check out as well. What would you do? Also, do you have any stories of being ripped off and not being paid for a performance? Yeah, it can happen from time to time. I've got tons of stories. It's not a very nice story, but it can happen. There's been several times in the past where I've not actually been paid. It happens a lot less these days because we've got systems in place to make sure that doesn't happen. and with deposits and being paid up front and so on and so forth. But in the early days, when I didn't really know what I was doing in business, that could happen quite a lot, but not anymore. In terms of the worst that ever happened, so many years ago, there was a chain of restaurants in the UK called Old Orleans Restaurants. I don't know if you remember them. And we had residency at Old Orleans Restaurants in about 3 different venues. So we were doing a lot of restaurants. And the deal we had with them is we would invoice monthly. And so at the end of every month, any work that we did in those 3 venues, we'd just send them an invoice. And they were booking us like 2 or 3 times a night. 2 or 3 times a week at each venue. So, the bills were at the end of the month, the invoice was quite a lot, even we're talking about 10 years ago now. It was even back then, it was like, something like 15, more than that. It was a lot of money. It was 2,000, 3,000, I can't remember. But it was a decent amount of money. And this one month they didn't pay, and they were like, oh yeah, sorry, we've got problems with our accounts department, we'll pay it next month along with the other invoice. And we were like, okay, because we've got a good relationship with them. We'd been working with them for quite a while, and we knew all the managers there, so we trusted them and everything was fine. And then just at the end of the following month, they went bankrupt, and effective immediately, all the restaurants got shut down, and we were owed like 2 months worth of invoices, which was a lot of money. I can't remember how much. I seem to remember in my head it came to 10,000, but it might have been more, I don't know. But it came to a lot of money. And what was even worse from our point of view is we'd been sending magicians in. It wasn't just me that was doing it. It was other magicians that were being sent into these venues to do these gigs, and we paid them. And we didn't want to get the money back off them. That wouldn't be fair. So not only did we not get the money in from Old Orleans, but also we'd paid a fortune out to entertainers as well. So we were completely, massively out of pocket. That's probably the worst thing that's ever happened. And that was a long time ago. And we put systems in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. And that's the point. When you're in business, you can't skip the steps. You can't skip the steps because you have to go through this stuff in order to be successful. And it's learning what you do in these situations that really kind of pushes you to another level. Okay, so the next question is from Andrew Wigan. And Andrew says, hey, Craig, I don't have a question so much as a suggestion. Have you considered having a segment, weekly, monthly, or whatever, where a viewer submits a video of a trick they currently do and gives you suggestions on how to improve it? It seems like a great way to engage your audience, and also as a jumping off point, having a larger discussion on whatever is relevant to the problem in the video. I love that idea. I think it's great. I'd love to. The question is, could I get people that would want to submit their trick and have me analyze it on a YouTube video? If you do, email me a link to a video of yours. Just email it to craig@magictv.org or admin@thenetrix.com and email it over to me. I'll have a look at it and I'll do a video breaking it down. I'll do a commentary track over the top. We'll play the performance, then we'll do a commentary track, and then we'll do a full analysis. And I'm happy to do that for anybody. So I think it's a really good idea. I just question whether anybody will put that video forward. But if you do, I would love to see it. Okay, so the final question today is from a guy called David Pocus. And David says, I really enjoy Ryland's videos on Instagram. And it's amazing to see the interaction he gets on his Instagram channel. Thank you very much. He works very hard on it. What advice can you give me in order to grow an Instagram channel? And does Ryland do the channel himself? So, okay. So yeah, again, a lot of questions there. So first of all, yes, Ryland does the channel himself. He will come to me for advice as to which videos to do, and I will kind of steer him in the right direction. Most of them are filmed by his mom, not filmed by me. I filmed the odd one, so he did flip balm the other day, and I knew the angles, I wanted that shot on, so I said, look, I'm going to film it. But he shoots a lot of the videos with his mom, and then edits them and puts them up himself. Obviously, he's 9, so he uses YouTube and Instagram, but supervised, so he can read people's comments and reply to people's comments. But he's always supervised. But yeah, he plans out the tricks in advance. He tries to put a trick up every single day. And sometimes it's like a trick that he'll know. Sometimes it's a new trick that we're looking at on the review show, and sometimes it's like he comes to me for advice and says, "Hey, what should I do this video on? How can I present this video?" So he did a video recently on his channel of the new Bond Lee trick. What is it called? The Waken, I think it is. And I suggested he did it as a reel. He wanted to do it as a performance, and I said, "Why don't you do it as a reel and just take a card and write 'watch this' on it and put it in the thing and make it all mysterious?" And that ended up looking really good. But 9 times out of 10, it's his mom and him that do the videos together. In terms of growing an Instagram channel, really the best advice I can give you is to follow Ryland. He's absolutely bossing it at the moment. And it's not because he was on BGT. He was bossing it before he was on BGT. But he's adding like an extra 1,000 followers, like every couple of weeks. It's insane. And all he does is it's just consistency. He just posts a video every single day. He posts photos as well every so often, but he posts a video every single day. The other thing is, remember that on Instagram, you want to go vertical, not horizontal. YouTube is horizontal. Most videos are horizontal, but Instagram is vertical, okay? And you want to do everything that you can to game the algorithm on Instagram. One thing that you do is hold the camera vertical. Another thing is really focus on Reels, because Reels are seen by a lot more people. So if you use Reels, which are the part of the, if you look at an Instagram video, a video is over 1 minute, a reel is less than 1 minute. If you put a reel on there, it gets seen by more people. Anything over a minute, it gets seen by less people. It doesn't get pushed out on the sort of the Instagram equivalent of the For You page for TikTok. So yeah, for sure, do a lot of reels. Then do Instagram stories and stuff, and Instagram stories to try and get people's attention and get more people, to watch your videos. But really, that's all it is. It's just consistency, and it's putting out content that you know your audience will like. I mean, from Ryland's point of view, he doesn't think about this sort of stuff too much at all. He just films magic, the sort of magic that he would like to see. And he just puts videos together showcasing that magic. And that's all Ryland does. So that's really all you need to do. But yeah, I mean, I don't spend as much time on his Instagram as Ryland. Ryland does a lot more on Instagram than me. But yeah, I mean, just have a look at his channel, look at what he's doing, and just copy it. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you, really. Make sure that you do your hashtags correctly. He's got all of his hashtags already noted down, so he knows what he's going to use. But yeah, the big thing is consistency and do a lot of reels. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, all you got to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again later on this evening with a review show special. I'll also be back with a live and a short, so make sure you stick around right here on Magic TV. Thank you once again. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, go check out the Netrix, www.thenetrix.com. People ask me how they can support the channel. Just check out the Netrix. That's all you need to do. I'd love you to check it out and see what you think. Regardless, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thanks for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.